Thank you for attending today's dedication of the Morgan District Riverwalk. This is one of the last remaining sections of the Riverwalk to be completed along the Fox River corridor. The corridor plan was approved by the Common Council in 2005. After a couple of years of planning, the first section of the Riverwalk, the Leach Amphitheater section, was completed in 2008. City staff has worked with property owners along both the north and south shores of the Fox River to make the Riverwalk a reality. Take a look on the north and the south shores. This is what the collaboration with the property owners has done. Grants from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and funding approval from the Oshkosh Common Council. We have created a multimodal recreational trail that is enjoyed by the community and visitors to our great event city. Now, if you would please welcome Mayor Steve Cummings. Mayor Cummings is the fifth generation of his family to call Oshkosh home. He has served on the Oshkosh Common Council for 9 years, 5 years as a council member, and the last 4 as mayor. He is a member of the Oshkosh Plan Commission, Landmarks Commission, and chairs the Redevelopment Authority. He is also a board member of the Oshkosh Zoo Society, Evergreen Manor Village, and Winnebago County Historical and Archaeological Society. Most recently, he joined the executive board of the Wisconsin Procurement Institute and is co-chair of Unity in Community. He is passionate about the community, both its present and its future. Mayor Cummings?
Thank you, Darlene. Welcome. On behalf of the Oshkosh Common Council, I see some of my fellow council members are here, and the 67,000 plus citizens that call this great place home, thank you for joining us today. The grand opening of the final section of the Riverwalk along the south shore of the historic Fox River. I wouldn't be doing my job as the self-appointed historian of the council if I didn't give you a little history lesson on the Fox. It's played an important role in the city of Oshkosh, the state, and the country. Archaeologists have determined that the indigenous people lived along the Fox River as long as 7,000 years ago. The first Europeans to reach the Fox were French explorers, beginning with Jean Nicolet in 1634. In 1673, explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet canoed the Fox in search of a trade route to China. They didn't find that route. What they did discover, though, was the Mississippi River. The Fox was the industrial hub of Oshkosh. The first sawmill was established in 1847 down that way, and within several years, sawmills and other industries lined the Fox. Some of you may remember their names. In addition to the Morgan Company, there was Payne, Leach, U.S. Motors, Robert Brandon Sons, American Excelsior, Dynamatch, and Oshkosh Luggage, to name just a few of the companies that built a city. All were leaders in the industries they served, which is also a trait of the industries in Oshkosh today. Many of the homes in Oshkosh still contain woodwork, doors, staircases, and mantles manufactured by the Morgan Company on this site. To further explain the important role that the Fox River and lumber industry played in the history of this country was the mill workers' strike of 1898. This event was of major importance and significance in the labor movement of the United States. The targets of the strike were Morgan, Payne, and Buckstaff. My wife Dee Dee's great-grandfather, Thomas Morgan, was president of the Morgan Company at the time of the strike. Only 5 years later, in 1903, he was murdered by a disgruntled employee in the lumberyard over here. Our great-grandson, Oliver Cummings, is Thomas Morgan's great-great-grandson, and he's here today. And I'm hoping that as he gets older, he'll remember the importance that this historic moment has played in the history of the city and our family. The shores of the Fox River have been transforming since the 1960s. First came Park Plaza, which is now City Center, and also the Pioneer. These developments were followed by a hiatus of a few years until what is now the Best Western Hotel was built. Following this development came the Oshkosh Convention Center and Leach Amphitheater. Condos, apartments, houses, Rainbow Memorial Park, and the Fox River Brewing Company were built on the former Payne site. The Anthem and the Rivers 1 and 2 replaced piles of coal and gravel just across the river that was once owned by Cook and Brown. All that material came down the Fox River from Green Bay. In about 8 years or less, the Riverwalks on both the north and south shore of the Fox have become reality. This section of the Riverwalk was constructed on easements granted to the city from the Morgan Partners and funded using Wisconsin DNR stewardship grants and capital improvement program funds. Thank you to the current and past council members, city staff, and the DNR for their vision for the Riverwalk and their hard work making this happen in less than a decade. It had been talked about for 50 years before work began. I also want to thank the citizens of Oshkosh for their enthusiastic support, making Oshkosh just a cool city and a great place to live, work, play, and learn. The last piece of the transformation of the historic Fox River will be the development planned by the Morgan Partners for this important, historic 28 acres of land that once provided jobs for literally hundreds and hundreds of Oshkosh citizens. With that, I'll turn it over to Jean Rombeck-Bartels from the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Jean is the Secretary's Director of the Northeast Wisconsin, which encompasses 16 counties. Her background is in wildlife and parks, but has recently been working on redevelopment projects across the region, as well as working with communities and landowners on complex projects. This year, she celebrates her 25th year with the DNR. Jean?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very proud and happy to be here today, and thank you for extending this invitation for me to briefly speak to you on this glorious day in Oshkosh. I wish all of our days in summertime in Wisconsin could be just like today. A little bit of breeze to keep us cool, but that beautiful sun shining down on us. Oshkosh has invested in its citizens' health and well-being by providing this Riverwalk, giving residents and visitors alike the opportunity to meet your neighbors and improve your physical and mental health on this Riverwalk. DNR is proud to be part of this latest accomplishment. Our remediation and redevelopment staff work with the city to return the shores of the Fox River to a productive and beautiful part of the city. From the low hazard exemption for this project to our continued work with the developers of the rest of the Genweld site, we are enthusiastic partners. Our community and financial staff, especially Bobby Weinbauer, who's here today, some of who, like I said, are here today, worked with you on a combined $1.7 million on the Morgan District project, including funding from the Recreational Trails Act, the Land and Water Conservation funding, and the state's own stewardship funding. When combined with other stretches of the South Shore Riverwalk project, Oshkosh has received over $2.7 million in grants. Congratulations. We continue to work on various projects in Oshkosh, and you're great partners to work with in a strong and steady community whose love for the Fox River, Lake Winnebago, and all of your natural resources is evident. And as a community where we too work and play, please keep up the great work. It's my privilege then to introduce our next speaker. Amy Albright. Amy Albright joined the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau as the new executive director in August of 2017. Before joining the CVB, Amy worked for over 20 years with the Oshkosh YMCA in marketing, membership, public relations, fundraising, and development, to name a few. As an Oshkosh native, Amy has dedicated herself to enriching the Oshkosh community. She is a current member of various event committees throughout Oshkosh. Please help us welcome Amy.
Hi, everybody. So I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary, which is really exciting. It's like a few days, and I will have been with the CVB for 1 year, and what a year it's been. Having worked in fundraising, I understand what it is to raise the kind of money and get the kind of grants that this project required. And I'm going to be honest, this project makes my job pretty easy. My job is to make Oshkosh look good, and this sure does make Oshkosh look good. So I think we need to give a round of applause to everybody that had a part in this. The bottom line is trails make communities better. There is a huge economic impact that comes from a trail. We can get excited about being on the trails ourselves, and absolutely we should. The amount of social media attention that this trail and this piece of the trail has driven, we kind of monitor that, and it is so exciting to watch that. Then we go ahead and share that and try to attract visitors here. We don't have to try very hard. One of our marketing strategies coming up is actually talking about our trails in Oshkosh, and the Riverwalk just works right into that mix. Tonight, we are in Event City, and tonight is the 33rd, marks the last concert of the 33rd year of Waterfest, and their slogan is Rockin' the Fox. So, when we're finished here, you can go ahead and walk on down and continue to the Rock the Fox in Oshkosh, but I just encourage you to spend time on the Riverwalk and tell people about it. We have so much to be proud of here in Oshkosh, and the more that we share that message, the more people that will want to come here, to work, live, and play. So with that, just very exciting day in Oshkosh. Congratulations. Are you next? And I don't have a little sheet, so I'm just assuming Mark is next. So here comes Mark Roloff, our fearless leader, and awesome job.
Thank you, Amy. I'm going to keep the microphone close to me because we're going to get a boat or something coming by in the next few minutes, because we got a lot of activity going on here along the Fox River, and this project doesn't get done without a ton of different people. I can't say there's any one person or any one organization that gets the credit, but everybody who was involved played a crucial role, and without their participation, this wouldn't happen. Amy talked about the Riverwalk Trail and how important it is. And when you think about the vision that was created to say, hey, this would be a great idea, this idea was actually created back in the 1960s when somebody said, hey, we need to convert these old industrial sites into something that we can all enjoy. So it's only taken like 50 years, so it's okay. But it's sticking to that vision, and that comes from people who serve on our boards and commissions. I know we got a couple Plan Commission members here, of course, council members, Mayor Steve Cummings, Deputy Mayor Lori Palmieri. How she got here today would be an interesting story. Go ask her. And I believe I saw a council member, Steve Cummings. But all the council members, past and present, as well as boards and commissioners, members of Plan Commission, past and present, Bike and Ped. Jim, you're not going to give up until we got trails in every corner of the city. And that vision and sticking to that vision is really what we're celebrating today. So I want to thank everybody that has been involved in setting the vision for our community, because that's really what makes it happen. So thank you, one and all there. The DNR, their grants, we've been great partners, and there's a lot. Gene, I thought it was actually more than that, but keep it coming. We're okay taking more money, but that's come with a match, local matches. We've invested both some local TIF dollars as well as general tax dollars, because the community has said this is what we want the future of Oshkosh to be. So the people who who have funded this, whether it's at the state level or the local level. They deserve a lot of credit. And then each of these segments of the Riverwalk don't happen without the cooperation of the adjoining property owners. And when you take a look at this site, former Morgan Company, Geldwin site, now it's the Morgan Partners, and there's a representative of Morgan Partners, Grant Schwab. Grant, I want to thank you and all your partners. They donated dedicated land to make this Riverwalk happen. And this was their property, but they saw the value in what this is. And Grant and I were talking earlier, and envision this being, when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle, what do you start with? You usually, now I know I'm hearing the traffic. Jigsaw puzzles, you start with the frame first. You gotta get the outline done. And this really is the outline of what's going to be a very beautiful picture. And the vision that the Morgan Partners have for this site to bring a mixed use type of development. Their architects are here today. They see the value in what a Riverwalk brings to adding to this area. So I want to thank the partners for their involvement in it, and look forward to seeing what ultimately comes of this site. And then I see some other folks in the development community here. Mike, thanks for coming. You guys are investing in the river, and we appreciate that, because it's that private investment that goes along with public investment that makes this all happen. And that's really, Gene, take it back to Madison. That's what's working here in Oshkosh. 10 years ago, we dedicated that bridge right over there, and there was none of that was here. And I said then, because the council had told me, it was right after I started 10 years ago, we want to see this Riverwalk develop, Mark, and we want you to keep pushing that. The community development staff has been relentless in pursuing grants. Ray Maurer, our parks director, is maintaining these. It's all a team effort, and I can't thank you enough for sticking to that vision and continuing to carry that out, because that's what's going to continue to move our community forward. Now, I think I've said enough. I think it's time to do a little bit of ribbon cutting. So thanks everybody for showing up today. Go check out the Bridge to Somewhere now, and we'll enjoy just everything that this Riverwalk brings to you. So thank you for coming.
We're doing a grand opening of the Morgan District Riverwalk, both on the east and west shores of the Fox River on the south side.
My wife is part of the Morgan family, so to us it's very special to see what was once a 20-acre industrial site transformed now into just a beautiful walk along the river. Citizens never had an access to this river when it was all factories, and now everything's just wide open. It's just so great.
Council's been supportive, the community's been supportive, and of course it's a great asset for the community and the tourists.
The current council and past councils have been very supportive of this project since the beginning. Everyone saw the value of transforming what had become the heart of the city industrially to a blighted part of the city to it's all now apartments and restaurants, parks, open space, Riverwalk.
The first section of Riverwalk was completed in 2008, and that was the Leach Amphitheater section. So it's been a long haul, and we're almost done. We still have a few more sections on the South Shore, but now we are also working on expanding it to the west to connect with the statewide U-Wash Trail more and the Tribal Heritage Parkway. We were only looking to complete down to the lagoon because we thought bids would come in very high based on bids we've received for the other sections. But actually we got very favorable bids, and we're able to complete the entire section from Oregon Street Bridge to the Boatworks property.
Compared to other cities that are on the Fox River, we've got the most easily accessible part of the Fox River, at least Lake Butamore, obviously Lake Winnebago. It's just a recreational paradise for boating, fishing, or just enjoying the river. Oshkosh is such a cool city with all it has to offer.